Welcome to Math with Mr. P. This is Chapter 3, Lesson 3. This is 7th grade math. Today we're going to be focusing on integers. We're going to be focusing primarily on subtracting integers and how to subtract integers. Last chapter we talked about adding. This time it's going to be the opposite. And let's get into it today. The diving platform, or the platform on a diving board, is 3 meters high. The actions of a diver climbing up to the diving board platform and diving 1 meter below the water's surface are shown on a number line at the right. So, the water level will be represented by the 0. The diving platform is 3 meters high. So, 3 meters above the water level. When the diver dives, they will get to 1 meter below water. So it says here, diving 1 meter below the water surface. So basically what we have here is 3 minus 4, because his jump will be going down 4. Down here we have 3 minus 4, which will be negative 1. He lands negative 1, or 1 meter below the water level. Write a related addition sentence for the subtraction sentence. What would happen is if we did 3 plus negative 4, that would also be negative 1. It's basically what we're doing here. Use a numbered line to find negative or 1 minus 5, then write the related addition sentence for the subtraction sentence. So let me find my pen. So we start at 1 right here. 1 minus 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will end up in negative 4. The subtraction sentence that we could use here, because that was a related addition sentence for the subtraction sentence. This would be the same thing as saying 1 plus negative 5. 1 minus 5 is the same thing as saying 1 plus negative 5, because it'll just get rid of the addition and make it 1 minus 5. 1 plus negative 5 would still be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps back, which would still make this negative 4. Subtracting integers. To subtract an integer, add its additive inverse. This means P minus Q is the same thing as saying P plus negative Q. When you're adding a positive to a negative, it literally just becomes a subtraction problem. So an example here would be 4 minus 9 would be the same thing as saying 4 plus negative 9. It's exactly the same thing. Like I taught you last lesson, the plus just goes away here, and it becomes 4 minus 9, which is exactly what we have here. They're the exact same thing. It's important to know that this is known as its additive inverse. Same thing here, 7 minus negative 10 will become the same thing as 7 plus 10, or 17. And this is something I haven't taught you yet. When you have a number minus a negative number, what you do here is you take these two lines and just make them an addition sentence. If I'm saying 7 minus negative 10, it's the same thing as saying 7 plus 10. So to break this down, if I am adding a negative number, it's the same thing as just subtracting. And if I am subtracting a negative number, it's the same thing as adding. I will say that one more time because I know that was confusing. I almost confused myself. When you add a negative number, it's the same thing as just subtracting. And when you subtract a negative number, it is the same thing as adding that number. When you subtract 7, the result is the same as adding its additive inverse, negative 7. So 6 minus 7 is the same thing as 6 plus negative 7. They're both going to be negative 1. Find 8 minus 13. The same thing as saying 8 plus negative 13. This is just trying to make it more confusing. The answer is going to be negative 5. check by adding. -5 plus 13, does it equal 8? It does. This is going backwards. That's like me saying 1 plus 2. Sorry, no, we're not dealing with adding, we're dealing with subtracting. That's like saying 5 minus 3 equals 2. Does 2 plus 3 equal 5? It does. Therefore, it checks out. Find -10 minus 7. -10 minus 7 is the same thing as saying -10 plus -7, which is still just 10 minus 7, which will be, or sorry, -10 minus 7, which will be -17. You owe somebody $10 and you owe somebody else $7, you're going to owe $17 total. And let's do the got it's together. 6 minus 12. Let's get our whiteboard up and running. It will. There it goes. Just taking a little bit. But let's go back to look at the question. 6 minus 12 is the question that we are doing for example A. If the whiteboard will load, typically I have these uploaded beforehand, and unfortunately I was not prepared with this today. But again, 6 minus 12. You have $6, you owe somebody $12. 6 minus 12. Now, I have 6, subtract 12. I can't do that. I'm going to take at least 6 away from it. That will mean I need to take another 6. I'll have -6. If I put it on a number line, here is 6. I'm going to take 12 away. So 1, that'll give me 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I end up at -6. So 6 minus 12 is -6. -20 minus 15. I'm going to draw a different number line. I'm already at -20 here, and I'm going to subtract 15 from it. I'm just going to jump back 15 times. This is the same thing as just saying 15 plus 20 or 20 plus 15. It'll be 35, but since I was going to the left, -35. -20 minus 15. So I don't do this as a like 20 minus 15 and it's 5. No, I'm still owing somebody else. I owe somebody $20 and now I owe somebody else $15. When you add these two together, it becomes 35, but you're still down $35. If that makes sense. I would start at -20 and move 15 spots over, which would eventually get me to -35, somewhere down here. And then the same thing, same type of example with C, -26 minus 20, or sorry, -22 minus 26. Let's erase our work here. -22 minus 26. So I'll be doing 26 jumps this time, and I'm not going to count every single 26 jumps. But again, instead of me doing this thing, I'll just add these two, which will give me 48, and remember that it's a negative. So -48 would be my answer. If I were to jump 26 times to the left after -22, I'm going to get -48. Find +1 minus -2. Now, again, the rule here states when you subtract a negative, those two symbols will add together. I can't do 1 minus -2. It's a little weird, and I'll try to show you guys on a number line. So I'm at 1. Here's 0. Here's -2. I'm going to do 1 minus -2. I can't subtract -2. How would I subtract -2? If I jump this way 2 times, I just subtracted 2, but I don't want to subtract 2. I want to subtract -2. So this other little subtraction just gets added, and I actually jump 2 times to the right instead. So 1 minus -2 will equal 3. Again, when you're subtracting a negative, think of these two lines just coming together to make an addition. So it'll become 1 plus 2, which will give me 3. And as it says here, it becomes 1 plus 2 equals 3. Negative 10 minus negative 7. This will actually become negative 10 plus 7, which, since 10 is still negative, it'll jump it 7 times to the right, which will eventually equal negative 3. This is the same idea as 10, or 7 minus 10. It's negative 3. Let's do these got it problems. 4 minus negative 12. We are subtracting a negative, so this will actually become 4 plus 12. Let's get this board erased. 4 minus negative 12. Again, these two converge into an addition symbol. 4 plus 12 will equal 16. My answer is 16. Negative 15 minus 5. Minus negative 5. These two will converge into an addition symbol, but this isn't just 15 plus 5, it's negative 15 plus 5. So if I owe somebody $15 and then I found $5, I'm going to jump 5 times to the left. So it's the same thing as saying 5 minus 15, which will actually equal negative 10. So my answer here is negative 10. And we have 18 minus negative 6. This is the same thing as saying 18 plus 6, because again, we're subtracting a negative. 18 minus negative 6. We're going to take these two. They will converge into an addition symbol. And 18 plus 6 should equal 24, if I'm not mistaken. Take 2 from this. That'll be 4 to make this 20. 20 plus 4 equals 24. So 18 plus 6, or 18 minus negative 6, will equal 24. Now we're going to have some examples with some variables. X minus y, if x equals negative 6 and y equals negative 5. That's the same thing as saying negative 6 minus negative 5. Instead of the negatives, they will converge into an addition symbol as shown here. So this will become negative 6 plus 5. Or we flip it, and it's the same thing as saying 5 minus 6. It'll be negative 1. Evaluate m minus n if m equals negative 15, so we're going to plug in negative 15 here, and n equals 8. Negative 15 minus 8. It's the same thing as saying negative 15 plus negative 8. We will just add 15 plus 8, and remember that the answer needs to have a negative symbol at the end. So 15 plus 8 is 23, but since they were both negatives, we're going to put the negative symbol in front of it and make it negative 23. We will do these got it problems and the example here. So we're plugging and playing. Our first one is b minus 10. b equals negative 8. So our question is negative 8 minus 10. Negative 8 minus 10. Again, when we have a negative subtracting a positive, what we can do here is just add these two numbers together. This will make 18, but I need to bring the negative symbol over. So negative 8 minus 10 is negative 18. In terms of money, again, you owe somebody $8, and now you suddenly owe somebody else $10. You owe $18 total. So negative 18 is our answer. For h, a minus b, a equals 5, and b equals negative 8. So 5 minus negative 8. Again, when we subtract a negative, they converge into addition. This will become 5 plus 8, which will equal 13. And our last example question is c minus a. C being negative 9. So we'll plug in negative 9 minus a. and A equals 5. Again, we have a negative being subtracted. We can just add these two together and make sure that it's a negative answer. 9 plus 5 would be 14. My answer will be negative 14. And our example question. The temperatures on the moon vary from negative 173 degrees Celsius to 127 degrees Celsius. This is positive. Find the difference between the maximum and the minimum temperatures. Basically what this is asking is how far between the two does this go? So in our number line, let's go ahead and do a new whiteboard. Start with a blank canvas. With our number line, our extreme low temperature is negative 173 degrees. The extreme high is 127 degrees. 0 will be somewhere here in the middle. How many units of numbers are between here? There's going to be 127 from here to here, and 173 from here to here. Even though it's negative, it's still there. So what we want to do is we want to find the difference between the two temperatures. So what we start off with is 127 minus negative 173. And if you notice here, this deals with absolute value. From here to here is 127. That's what we said, from 0 to 127. There are 127 degrees in that. And even though we go negative on this side, there is still 173 degrees here, from 0 down to negative 173. They want us to find the difference, quote unquote, so that is the answer to a subtraction problem. If this were absolute value, we just do the absolute value of 173 plus absolute value of 127, written as such. But this is not a difference. This is the sum of the two, which we are going to get to, but we want to write it as a subtraction problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the high of 127 and subtract the low, which is negative 173. But as you see, these two are going to converge, and it still makes the same question we just did where we added the two. We just wrote it differently because now we can say it's the difference, quote unquote. When we add these two together, sidebar over here, let's get a different color going here. 127 plus 173. 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1. 2 plus 7 is 9, plus the 1 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So there is a difference of 300 degrees Celsius, if I'm not mistaken. So between the extreme high and the extreme low temperatures on the moon, there is a 300 degree Celsius difference. The difference between the temperatures is 300 degrees Celsius. And let's go ahead and do this last got it for the video. Brenda has a balance of negative $52 in her account. So going back to money, that means she owes $52. She overdrew. The bank charged her a fee of $10 for having a negative balance. What is her new balance? So unfortunately, this is real world stuff. When you don't have enough money in your bank actually charges you more money for not having money in your bank, which seems kind of counterproductive, but it's the truth. You need to have a positive balance in your bank account. Since she overdrew, the bank is now going to charge her $10 for having that negative balance. This is the same thing as saying she has negative $52 in her bank account. And on top of it now, the bank is going to take away $10 from her account because she had a negative balance. This is negative 52 minus 10 is the equation that we're going to write. Now, as I taught you again, when you subtract a negative from a negative, you're just going to take these two numbers and add them. She already owed $52, and now the bank's saying we're going to charge you another 10. We're just going to add these two together, so now she has a balance of negative $62. on top of her spending too much and going over budget, the bank is now going to also charge her $10. Now, this will offset if she has a job and the next time she gets a paycheck, $62 of it will automatically just be gone to wherever she owed the money, 10 of it going to the bank. But unfortunately, she will start with a negative balance for that month of negative $62. And that's it. Homework can be found here. Again, as always, listen or look at the agenda to what numbers you are responsible for and the due date. We're almost done reviewing chapter 3. 2 more lessons to go and then a test. So as always, I am Mr. P. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the comment section. You can message me on Team if you're in my class. If you're not in my class, the comment section is the way to go. If you are a teacher looking and using my videos as a resource, again, comment section, I can reach out to you, leave your email. As always, I'm Mr. P, and I will catch you guys on the next one.